Added a little bit, 99.
All right. How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to your one-stop scoop shop that is Baseball Scoops. I'm your host, Tommy. What a World Series. This has been, I would honestly say, the best World Series inside this decade. Is that a stretch? I don't really think it is. I really do think this has been the best World Series inside this decade. I think, you look at 2024, you look at last year, the Dodgers, I mean, no offense to the Yankees, but that wasn't really a great series. You look at 2023, Rangers and Diamondbacks. I thought it was a good story for both franchises per se. Diamondbacks kind of did the thing where they went on an absurd run. They steamrolled through the playoffs. No one expected them to be there, so that's great news. And 2022, I mean, yeah, Braves, Stros, that had some flair, but I don't know. This has been a great series across the board when you really look at it. I mean, the Dodgers, just everybody expected them to be here. The Blue Jays, I want to say people probably doubted them. Granted, I went ahead and kind of said Dodgers in 6. I truly thought the pitching for the Dodgers would have made the difference. And it really hasn't been that way. And you're just seeing how good this Blue Jays team truly is across the board. So for this episode, I'm going to do a little reactionary, and then we're going to dive into a preview. Blue Jays, first time in 32 years. They've even made the World Series. And they're one win away from winning the World Series, which is phenomenal work. The Dodgers are trying to go back-to-back for the first time since the Yankees. That's the last team to do it. The last time in the NL is the Cincinnati Reds. So there is that. But what I want to do is start with the Blue Jays. That's going to be my starting point to reactionary, because I think what you're seeing here with the Blue Jays is you're seeing just how good this team is. You're seeing how good they are, and you're seeing things about this team that even lingered from the regular season that made them so good in the postseason. This team, from a standpoint of how they play offense, has been phenomenal. I mean, I want to kind of go to the regular season first just to show you how kind of good this team really was. Because I think there is something to that. And I'm just going to do the team stats because I think it's really what is precedent for this team and why they're so good and why they're having so much success is because of the things they do at the plate. It's their approach. It's the way they take on the game. It's the way they go about it. I mean, this is a team that during the regular season, come on, Fangraphs, you can do it. God, they have so many ads, it slows down my computer. It's insane. But when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays during the regular season, like, this is a team that has very good plate approach. 17.8% strikeout rate. That was the fewest in baseball. They struck out the fewest in baseball. Like, they were that good. And they make really good contact. They're a very good contact team. Make hard contact. They put the ball in play. That's what made them special. Like, and they can slug, they can hit home runs, they can do all those things. But you look at the Toronto Blue Jays from a hitting standpoint, I mean, where are you, Toronto? 13th in hard hit rate. Medium contact was 50. Oh, where are you? Keep losing you. 51%. So, I mean, still right there in the middle of the pack. They're just a really good team, and they have a lot of good depth to do it. Then you get to the postseason, and the offense has just raked. And this is why I've always been a believer in the Blue Jays. Yes, again, I picked the Dodgers because of just the pitching, and we'll get there. But this team offensively absolutely rocks. Like this team can do it all. Their K rate is 16.3%. The fewest of anybody that has played baseball this postseason. Their team OPS is an 827. That leads everybody. They're slugging 477 as a team, a 350 OBP, and they legitimately are the best offense in baseball. And their 129 WRC plus is literally at the top of baseball. Their WOBA is a 353. That's their weighted on base average. They've been that good. And now we get to get into the players. Because this World Series, and that's the thing about the Blue Jays too, is one, they've done this without Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette has not made a single at-bat until this series. But you've got everybody. Everybody. And I'm going to put this in a really good context for everyone. So I've got just the World Series. And this is what's made their offense special. Like, Shohei Ohtani has the highest OPS in the World Series. A lot of that is inflated from his historic performance, which I'll get there. But that's it. After that, that's really it. Because the next leaders are Addison Barger, 1147, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 1136. You have all 5. And then it drops down to like Freddie Freeman, Teoscar, then you got Daulton Varsho. But you look at the Dodgers, they only have 3 hitters that have a WRC plus above 100, which that's not great. Their highest is Freddie Freeman at 135, aside from Ohtani, of course. But this Blue Jays team, they hit the ball. They have a great approach at the plate. And they put the ball in play. And if you're a team this winter in free agency or however you want to approach the offseason, you should want to model what the Blue Jays are doing. Have a blend of power, but also have a blend of guys that are just going to come through and get on base and keep the line moving. That is what's made the Blue Jays a very special team, is they make contact. They make you pay. They have a very good plate approach. And they just turn the line. It's just like a production line. That's all it is. It's a production line. Literally next man up and boom, boom, boom. It's been really, really fun to watch. They took control of the first game where it was Snell and Savage, and the offense they broke the dam. They got after Blake Snell quite a bit, put him in 2 bases loaded jams. Like, you don't love to see that out of Snell. Very uncharacteristic for him. But then the dam breaks. Addison Barger, pinch hit, grand slam, a 9-run. And it's insane. The game was tied, and the next thing you know, the Blue Jays are just off and running. They got at, Yamamoto did his thing, but then you get into LA and we had that classic game 3, 18 innings, Freddie Freeman, but that was a game the whole way through, across the board. And I'll touch on some of that stuff with the Dodgers. But the Blue Jays hung in there tremendously. They did. And then you get to yesterday, or should I say Wednesday. And that was a very fun game. That was very back and forth. Like, yeah, you love seeing Schneider lead off home run. Vladdy goes home run again. So 2 home runs off the first 3 pitches is pretty nuts. Like, I don't think anybody expected that. Me personally, I expected Blake Snell to at least have a better showing than the first game. Now, granted, he held his own. I mean, you don't love the 4 walks that he had. He did give up 2 home runs, But he kind of reeled it in the rest of the way. Like, it was still a fairly tightly contested game, but there was just nothing you were going to do against Trey Savage. You just weren't. I love what the youth is doing in baseball right now. And you look across the board, you have, like, for the Athletics, you got Nick Kurtz, you got Jacob Wilson, who just had phenomenal rookie years. You know, for the Red Sox, you have Roman Anthony. Like, he easily lived up to his end of the hype. You know, then you got some other good rookies too, like Cade Horton, Drake Baldwin. You know, those were very good rookies. You know, Cam Schlittler, say what you will. Like, he held his own in a Yankees rotation that needed a guy to step up. And then you got your Savage, who he started in A-ball this year. Had a 3.12 ERA, you know, throughout his minor league system, a 14.69 K per nine. His whiff percentage was super high. Strikeout rates were super high. He just mowed down the minor league systems, and he got his call up, as most teams do. They call a young guy up to, you know, come in, the rosters expand, bring someone up who's knocking on the door. He didn't just knock on the door. He blew it down entirely. He's had quite the historic start to his very young career. Now, he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old. He made his debut against the Reds, very low-scoring game. It was a like a 2-1 game. Went toe-to-toe with Joe Boyle. He set the franchise record for the most strikeouts in a Blue Jays rookie debut. You know, then you get to the postseason. He makes his debut at home against the Yankees. Strikes out 10+, no earned runs. He just set the Blue Jays franchise record for the most strikeouts ever in a single postseason start. Well, then you get to this game, and let me remind you, this is his first road start for the postseason. So a very pivotal game 5, because one, it was the last game inside Dodger Stadium. 2, if you lose that game, you're going home in 2 must-win game situations. And then 3, it's just the high pressure of a situation where you're having to go toe-to-toe again with Blake Snell. Can you do it again? Well, he didn't just do it. He did it historically. He just set the record for the most strikeouts in a single start by a rookie in a World Series game. So he just broke his own Blue Jays franchise record. He had 12 strikeouts, 0 walks. He did give up the home run to Kike Hernandez, but he was killing it with the slider, the splitter. He had 23 total whiffs in the entire game. His slider led the way, but his splitter had a 70% whiff rate, which is absolutely diabolically insane. But he's a guy that just started in A-ball, and he's now the front of the rotation. You love to see it. That's what baseball's about. This is beautiful. This is beautiful if you are a baseball fan. You just are. This is absolutely magnificent. And I'm happy for him. He's 22 years old. He's one of my favorite prospects. I genuinely love that outing. And he did it against the Dodgers team. Now, granted, they're not hitting very well, but it's still the Dodgers. That still has talent. They can still make you pay if you make a mistake. But this Blue Jays team is just special. Their bullpen's been really good. Hoffman's been super reliable. Sir Anthony Dominguez, what a pickup that was at the deadline to bolster that. Louis Varland should pitch all the time. He's been phenomenal. Flaherty's been good. Everybody's doing their job. And one of the biggest X factors that we talked about, was like, you were going to need this Dodgers offense and all this depth to just shine through. And you're getting that across the board. There's not a single person that you can plug into this game or this series that hasn't done their job and coming up with hits and being reliable. Like Ernie Clement's still getting it done. Bo Bichette's been great. He's hitting .313. He came back and he's swinging the twig like it's nothing. And George Springer went down. So that was 2 games where they didn't even have their leadoff hitter. It's honestly crazy what the Blue Jays are doing. They've defied everybody's expectations of them. They've defied the odds. A lot of people wanted to doubt them. Nobody expected them to be in this position, and they have been. They've been one of the best teams in baseball all year. There was no reason to think that they couldn't do it. But a lot of this boils down to the pitching for the Dodgers. Like, let's get to that. And the pitching has let them down. But I also think, too, like, this is probably really unfair to say. It really is. I'm going to say this, and it's going to be very unfair to say. Did the Dodgers cakewalk to the playoffs? Like, I'm not saying anything bad about the Reds, but the minute that was their matchup and that was their wild card series, it's like, okay, this is a tune-up series. And it ended up being that. Like, no offense to the Reds. It's just that was a team where the Reds, very good throughout the year, I thought they have weaknesses, but they capitalized on the Mets' collapse. They did. You know, their pitching got them to the postseason, and you knew their offense was going to be a weak point. Well, the Dodgers pitching staff was pitching as good as it has all year. They were healthy, they were dominating, and it was fantastic. Okay, you get to the series with the Phillies, the pitching is there. The hitting wasn't. So they basically had to pitch their way through and just get that timely hit that you needed. Because let's face it, the Phillies didn't hit either. They didn't. So you have a Dodgers offense that really didn't do a ton. And they pitched their way through the Brewers. And you didn't really need your offense all that much because the Brewers single-handedly had like the worst appearance at the plate in postseason history for a single series. That's not good. But now you're running into a team where you've had your pitching deliver, but you haven't faced an offense quite as deep, quite as effective, and quite as disciplined at the plate. And that, to me, has been a problem. Yamamoto, you love to see it. Back-to-back complete games. That's the first time that's happened in a really long time. Madison Bumgarner had multiple complete games in the World Series 2014. Kurt Schilling did that back-to-back in 2001. So very elite company if you're Yamamoto, and you love to see it. You really do. Like, good for Yamamoto. Good for him. Just he's lived up to every cent of that contract, $325 million, highest paid pitcher in baseball. He's lived up to it. I mean, he really has. He has lived up to that deal and being worth every penny, and this is what you're paying him for. And, you know, I'll get to it, but you're going to need it again. But the Dodgers, I mean, you look at the pitching staff, and it hasn't been necessarily as dominant like as it was. Like Yamamoto, yeah, he's got the 1 ERA, just complete game. Like there's nothing you're going to do there. But Blake Snell with a 7.71 ERA, a 5.40 walks per 9. Like this is a guy that entering the World Series had an ERA that was sub 1. Like that was good. Shohei Ohtani, still getting his strikeouts, but he's got a 6 ERA. Like it's not great. Blake Snell's FIP is a 6.65. That's not good. And it's crazy that the pitching for the Blue Jays has managed to perform better than what the Dodgers have put out. And this was the factor for the Dodgers. This was their biggest thing, was their pitching. And the problem is they're not going deep enough. And that's not even including Tyler Glass now. Let me see if I can filter this real quick. I'm on Fangraphs. I'm not doing the screen sharing thing just because, for whatever reason, it slows down my computer. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's the ads. I don't know what it is, but it slows it down to pretty much no end. But yeah, the Dodgers pitching that really was supposed to be like their bread and butter, like this is their success, has been anything but that. And you've seen that the last couple of games where if Tyler Glasnow, I mean, 3.86 ERA is not bad, 5.71 FIP, but his walks per nine is bad. It's 5.79. But you're seeing that the bullpen for the Dodgers is just being exposed. And that's the bread and butter to success. And that was always an X factor coming into the postseason for the Dodgers. It's even worse now because you look at Dave Roberts, when he has to go to the bullpen, you just see the look on his face and he's just like, shit, who am I going to go to? The only person he trusts is Roki Sasaki. That's the only person he trusts in that bullpen. Shout out to Will Klein. Beautiful, beautiful way to come in. 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 hit. You did your job and you had your moment, and it got capped off by a phenomenal walk-off home run by Freddie Freeman, first player ever to have 2 walk-off hits in the World Series that are home runs. Did it against Cortez last year and did it against the Blue Jays this year. But like that bullpen is just shaky. Like Blake Trinan's been brutal, 5.40 ERA. He's been bad. Emmett Sheehan has a 9 ERA. Like that's not good. And that's a guy who was a reliable starter. You can go to Edgardo Henriquez. I think Jack Dreyer's been good, Robleski, but it's like, how many of these guys are you going to put into high leverage situations? See, that's the tough part, is who are you putting in these high leverage situations? Because who do you trust? And you don't have Tanner Scott. Like Tanner Scott's, he's not pitching this series. Kirby Yates is hurt. So this bullpen that they did construct, on paper when it's healthy, sure, it's probably really good, but Kirby Yates wasn't good and he got hurt. Tanner Scott had the worst year of his career. It's bad. It's really, really bad. I'm trying to look at the average leverage index here. Roki Sasaki is the only person they trust in high leverage situations. If you have anything above a 2, that means like you are the highest of the high, and that has been that. He has a 3.79 GM leverage index, which means that is how high of a leverage it is when you're entering the game. Emmett Sheehan's right behind at 2.3, which is good. Edgardo Henriquez, not horrible. And then Will Klein came in, obviously, but there's been nobody else. Like, nobody else is relied on. Like, the last person they are putting in a high leverage situation is Blake Trinan. That's the last person. When he exits the game, it's higher leverage than when he enters it. And that's really been the story. That's part of it, is the pitching is just not – it's not the same. And it's not what it was when the season started. I think the starters definitely getting not exposed, but the starters are facing an offense that's legitimate. Yep. Not sure what happened there, but that was a glitch, probably due to legitimately Fangraphs absolutely crapping on my computer. That's kind of what it does. But no, back to what I was saying. It's just like you're seeing the pitching just be. I'm not saying they're facing just a really good offense. Like they just are. I think you look at the Reds, like the Blue Jays, better than the Reds. I would say they're better than the Phillies. Like I would say they're better than the Phillies. And then the Brewers the Brewers offense did remind me of the Blue Jays. It's just they've always had that one guy that they can count on, that one guy that'll step up, that one guy that'll legitimately find a way to come through in a clutch moment. It's just what they'll do. But where the Blue Jays are able to get after this pitching staff, and if they get to the bullpen, it's game over. The other thing, too, is credit also to the pitching of the Blue Jays, but you got to look at this offense for the Dodgers, and this even goes back to the Phillies series. Like, the Phillies series, the Dodgers didn't hit. Like, you want to look at their numbers? Here's what it is. Shohei Ohtani was 1 for 18. Freddie Freeman was 2 for 17. Mookie Betts he actually had a fairly decent series. He was 4 for 17. But the Dodgers didn't exactly do damage to the plate. Will Smith, 2 for 13. Freddie Freeman, 3 for 15. Like, not great. Like, I don't think they did anything, otherworldly. You go to the NLCS, like, got a little bit better. Mookie Betts was 2 for 15. Andy Paez, who got benched, he was 2 for 11. Teoscar, 3 for 15. Freddie Freeman was 4 for 16, so not bad. And it got a little bit better, but you were carried by Will Smith, Shohei Ohtani, and Tommy Edman, and Kike Hernandez. But you look at this World Series, and it's not much better. If you're the Dodgers, it's just not much better. Like, Teoscar Hernandez has been phenomenal, 7 for 22. Shohei Ohtani, 6 for 19. And he had the 3 home runs. Like, he's hit the ball. Freddie Freeman is 5 for 20. Will Smith, 5 for 21. Kike Hernandez, 4 for 19. Max Muncy, he's had a horrible World Series where he was very good, but he's only 3 for 20. Tommy Edman is 3 for 21. Mookie Betts is 3 for 23. Like, that's just in this World Series. Like, you look across the board, there's, like I said earlier, there's only 3 guys that have an WRC plus above 100. And if you count Will Smith, it's literally just 5% better, which is not great. 105 is, you're basically a league average bat at that point. But Mookie Betts, a -3. Like, that's a guy you want to lean on. Tommy Edman, 17. Kike Hernandez, 47. Max Muncy, 72. Like, you have half your lineup only has an OPS above 700. Mookie Betts has a 361 OPS for this series. He's hitting 130. He's even come out and said, like, I'm not good. I'm not good right now. You've had Dave Roberts say, this offense really has yet to find any rhythm or momentum in these playoffs. And he's absolutely right. This offense has not found any momentum in these playoffs at all. This is literally an offense that has the talent. They have the bats. They've had guys that have shown up before, but they're not. And they're not playing the best fundamental baseball. They're not playing the best brand of baseball. So, I said this on my own Twitter, but the Dodgers have the more talented team. The Blue Jays are playing a better brand of baseball. That just is what it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's what's made this series fun. It's what's made this World Series great. I think you've had great moments across the board. Game 1 in Toronto, tie game, a pinch hit grand slam, excitement to no end. Happy for the city of Toronto. Then you get to Game 2. We got a complete game by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Wonderful. You get to Game 3. You had that classic game. Shohei Ohtani was 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, and then he had basically 5 intentional walks in the extra 9 innings of the game. He reached base 9 times. That's insane. And then you get the Will Klein moment. You get all these exciting plays, good exciting defense, the Freddie Freeman walk-off. Like, that's magical baseball. Like, that was a treat for everybody. Then you get to game 4 and just a really good game by the Blue Jays, just sticking with it, battling in. It was really just a simple game. Really, that's what that boiled down to. That was a very simple baseball game. That was a very just meat and potatoes, just getting after it, sticking with it. 6-2 win. They did it. Vladdy hits the home run off Ohtani. Hang that picture in the Louvre. Like, that was beautiful. Shane Bieber makes his World Series pitching debut, and I thought he pitched really well. It was just really fun to watch. Then you get last night, the Trey Savage showdown. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And now you got to do or die game 6. You just do. You get Kevin Gausman. 4.05 ERA for let's see, is that the World Series? That is the World Series, but overall he's been really good this postseason. I thought he had a really good bounce back regular season, but a 2.55 ERA for the entire postseason, really good. I'm very much looking forward to that. And then can Yoshinobu Yamamoto deliver? Can he? He's not going to have a third complete game in a row. If he does, God bless him. But I think that's what they need to do. I do think that he needs to go as deep as he can into that game. He needs to almost have a flawless performance, which is asking a lot, by the way. That's asking a ton, because let's face it, that's kind of what they need. Like, if the Blue Jays get after Yamamoto and they have to go to the bullpen, that's going to be hard. I imagine it's an all hands on deck, because you obviously got to win the game. So I imagine you might see Ohtani, probably should see Sasaki, maybe Kershaw pitches another game, or makes an appearance to a degree, but Yamamoto has to go to this. He at least has to go 7 just to even feel good. At least for me. Like, this is just me as a baseball fan. Like, you can't have Yamamoto pitch 5 and then you got to turn it over to the bullpen. Now, if he just doesn't have it and the Blue Jays are getting after him, then it just is what it is. But this is a Blue Jays offense that's just been cooking, and everybody's doing it. I said Dodgers in 6. I hope the Blue Jays win the World Series in front of their fans. I do. I'm not saying I'm cheering for the Dodgers. I'm cheering for the Blue Jays. That's who I actually want to win the World Series. But if the Dodgers have any chance of forcing a game 7, they legitimately need Yamamoto to go the distance. They have to. They have no choice. That's really just me, because I think they are just pitching. They are pitching so well. The Blue Jays they're pitching well. They're doing everything that they need to do. Their offense is cooking. Everything just looks good. And I'm going to end this on a high note. Everyone thought Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was going to leave the Blue Jays. Everyone thought he was going to go somewhere else. Everyone was making up their mock trade packages. Everybody was predicting where he would land, what that contract would look like, the whole shebang. And then he signs the contract. It's a $500 million deal from the Blue Jays. And everyone's like, wow, why would he sign there? Like, they haven't done anything. And you know what? They really haven't. They literally went to the postseason 3 times with him in the fold. Never won a game. He's only had 3 hits combined in those postseason runs. They weren't very deep. And now you have a different story. This is the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. breakout. This is what every Blue Jays fan probably envisioned when he did sign that deal. Like, all right, I mean, he took their money and he's now the face of the franchise and he's playing like the face of the franchise. What he's doing this postseason, it is the postseason breakout for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's not even just the offense, which I'm going to get into, but it's his defense. He has played so well at first base defensively this year. Just in general, like on the just throughout the postseason, not just interesting. Okay. But yeah, it's just it literally he's been doing it across the board just in general. And it's been really fun to watch. He was making really good plays in the Yankee series where plays that probably should have been balls that were hitting the play and he was making them, but he did such a good job with it. Then you get to the World Series and he's just done that. He's played really good defense and his offense has just stepped up to the plate in general. He is 2 hits away from tying the single season postseason record. He is 2 home runs away from the most in a single postseason. He is hitting for a slash line 415, 506, 831. So that is average, 415 average, 506 OBP, 831 slug. His 1337 OPS is the 4th best in playoff history for a single postseason. His 54 total bases are the 2nd most ever in a single postseason run. That's pretty cool. That to me is pretty cool. I've enjoyed that. I've thoroughly enjoyed the breakout of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. this postseason. He is one of the best in baseball. He has lived up to every bit of that contract. And, I mean, you even looked at his defense this year. I mean, he's 21st percentile in range. I mean, obviously has the arm strength. But, I mean, this is a guy who's delivered just across the board. He's been as great as you can ask. He's done it all regular season. And he continues to do it in front of a faithful crowd. And I'm very, very thrilled for I'm very, very much thrilled for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm very thrilled for the Blue Jays fans. We should see George Springer, maybe, hopefully. But yeah, this was so much fun to do. Very excited. You'll get more of a reaction too when the series completes. So at some point, either early next week or this weekend, kind of got to see. But until then,